Hi, so it's Karis here, and this week the theme is on your first bunnies and how you got interested in rabbits. So I'll start off right from the beginning. I've always wanted some sort of pet, like a furry pet. So at first I always wanted a dog, but then my dad doesn't want a dog and he's really stubborn against that, but that's another story. So then I was in year 6 and I did my 11 plus, and yes, and I passed quite well, so my mum and dad said I can have a treat for doing well. So I had a list of things. First on my list was a dog, second was a rabbit or two, and then there was like, I don't know, probably a cat and hamster or something else in there, I don't know, and I don't remember really. So I told my dad that he had to choose something from the list of things, of pets that I would like. So somebody's making noises. Anyway, because he didn't really want a dog, so he chose that I was able to get some rabbits. So I don't really know, but I researched a bit and I think I just came across that rabbits were supposed to live in pairs. So instead of just one rabbit, I said to my dad, well, we're going to have to get two, you know, because they have to live in pairs, because otherwise they get lonely. So he said that, and he agreed that I would be able to get 2 bunnies. And luckily, I don't really remember how, and I asked my mum and she doesn't remember how, but we came across the RSPCA had rabbits, so I don't really know how we came across that. I think it was just my mum's good thinking, but I don't know, because none of us were aware of the rabbit rescue situation. So, but I'm really glad that we did find the rescue and we didn't end up going to a pet shop or Pets at Home or anything. And I don't know, I know, but it's really lucky. I don't really remember how, but yeah. So, and then I was looking on the website every day, refreshing it, seeing if any new rabbits came up. And finally, on one day, there were these 3 black bunnies, 3 little black bunnies up for adoption. And that, as soon as I saw them, I was like, those are the bunnies that I'm going to get. So this was about when I was 12-ish. Yeah, in year 6. So then I said, those are the bunnies that I'm going to get. So I emailed the people, and they were 2 girls, Cranberry and Mistletoe, and a boy called Walnut, obviously that's him. And so I emailed them saying, well, we'd prefer the 2 girls. Again, I don't really remember, but I think I'd researched, and no, from my research I'd found that 2 girls, probably from the books, because they always say get sisters so they don't fight. But then, yeah, I didn't know too much about how neutering affected them. So I said, are the 2 girls available to be rehomed on their own, leaving the boy? I know, well, I didn't have much knowledge, so otherwise, but I was only allowed 2. So I asked, because it said they could be rehomed in a pair as well, I think. So I emailed them, and they said, well, actually, at the moment, those 3 bunnies, Walnut and Cranberry, the boy and one of the girls, are getting on much better than the 2 girls. So if you want to rehome 2 of them, you'd have to take Walnut and Cranberry. So I was like, oh yeah, that's fine, really. I think Mistletoe had a bit of a mane. I remember from a picture. She had a little mane. Yeah, so I was like, well, that's fine. Yeah, I don't really mind, whatever you think's best. So then, oh, Billy. So then we carried on emailing and we looked for hutches and stuff, and we said, well, can you reserve them for us, or like come and do a home check and stuff? And they said, well, we can't reserve them for you until we've done a home check. So then we went in search of hutches, and they actually said it was alright. We asked them before we ordered the hutch online, a 4-foot by 2-foot double layer hutch with a 5 by 3 foot attached run 24/7, so that's about 16 foot in the hutch, and then 5 by 3, 15, so that's about 31, so it's not too bad, 31 square foot. They said that was okay for 2 bunnies, and this is the RSPCA. In 2008 they let us rehome 2 bunnies into that amount of space, so we obviously thought it was okay because the rescue agreed for us, but now I know that's like way too small for 2 bunnies. It's under the minimum that they recommended in the they did the recommendation thing in 2007, so I don't know how we got away with it or they let us, I don't really know, but yes, that's how it happened. Phoebe. So anyway, so finally we had a home check, and they said it was nice, it was a good place for them. And then on January the 28th, I think, 2008, we were able to go and pick them up because we've been to visit them before. Sorry, this video's going to be really long. It's already 5 minutes, nearly 6 minutes. So yeah, so we went along to pick them up, and they'd been neutered. They're only 4 months, but they'd already been neutered and spayed like a few days before, so they still have these bright blue stitches in their tummies. Well, Cranberry did, but Wally had them elsewhere. And yeah, so we brought them home, and they said their stitches just dissolved, so don't worry about them too much. So yeah, then we brought them home, and they stayed in the hutch. And at first I was kind of not scared, I'd say, but I'd never like had any pet of myself for my own except a hamster that I'd had, but I'd never like had experience of holding rabbits and stuff, so I was a bit wary of picking them up. And then when you're wary, they get scared and it's harder for them to pick them up, so my mum used to do it in the beginning, and then after some while I got brave enough and I helped out my friend with her new rabbits because she didn't want to pick them up. She's scared, but anyway, that's another topic. Keep going off track. So yeah, so then I used to go and sit out with them, like outside the hutch in the run, and sit with them, and they'd get used to me, they'd come and climb on me, and then I'd get more brave and I could pick them up. And then yeah, that's literally where my love of bunnies began, with spending time with Cranberry and Walnut. But then it's grown so much more since then. But anyway, so then sadly Cranberry passed away, and then I got so much more into rabbits because Walnut became quite wary of me, which was probably because I was spending less time with him, because Cranberry had gone, and it made me upset whenever I was with him, so I just didn't spend much time with him at all on his own. So he got more wary of me, and then I'd just go and pick him up to do a health check, and he never liked really being picked up. So yeah, so I went online looking for advice on how to like get to know your rabbit a bit more and get them to trust you, and I found Rabbits United forum, which without them I would never have, like, I wouldn't have these three today. Look at them chewing. Yeah, so I found them, and they said, well, you can spend more time with them. They gave me loads of tips and tricks becoming more friendly with Walnut, and they all worked. And then I looked at getting another bunny from a rescue. So I looked at the local RSPCA and I emailed them, and they said, well, now our minimum recommended sizes are 6x2 hutch with a 6x4 run. So I was like, well, you could have told me before and we could have got that in the first place. I don't know what they were on before. I have no idea. Anyway, so then I was like, well, our hutch isn't big enough, so I was like to my mum, we need to get it to be able to rehome another friend. Oh yeah, on the forum they told me that it'd be best to get him another friend, maybe he was lonely. So to get him another friend, we'd have to have a bigger hutch. So I started looking for hutches online, and then my mum, being the genius she is, said, well, why don't we like convert a Wendy house for them? So off I went onto the forum and asked about a Wendy house, and then they said, well, what about a shed? They're kind of cheaper than Wendy houses and you can get them bigger, and then you could attach a run. So then developed the idea of this place. So I slowly got tips and tricks and saw other people's pictures, got the idea of shelves and an aviary run and everything. Slowly got that, and then we adopted Miss Belle here, didn't we, Belly? Gorgeous girl. From ARC, Animal Rescue and Care, which is kind of local to me. Well, we had to drive for half an hour to pick her up, but because she was at a foster's house. What are you doing, Phoebe? Look how cute that is. Belly, you're gorgeous. Look at those feet. Oh. Yeah, so then I found her and we had a home check, which we passed with flying colours, and I still keep in touch with our home checker. She's really nice. I send her updates of Belle every now and again. like, I love looking back on it because, well, not love, I love seeing how much she changed, because Walnut, when she came to home check for Belle, Walnut didn't let her touch him at all. He was like grunting in the corner, and she was like, yeah, I know what you mean about grumpy nethies, because she had a few grumpy nethies too. And so yeah, and then so we adopted Belle, and Walnut came out of his shell so much, and I could spend tons more time with them in here, and I really started to love them for their individual personalities and not just because they were cute bunnies. And so then my mum said, well, we have all this space, we might as well rescue as many bunnies as we can. So I started to learn more about the rescue situation, and I thought, well, I'd really love to rescue 2 more bunnies. The more bunnies I could save, the better. So off we went looking around, and then Pepsi and Phoebe came into my local RSPCA, where we got Walnut and Walnut and Cranberry from. So they came in, and they weren't that attractive in the pictures of them, so that made them like kind of appeal to me more, because I thought people aren't going to pick them because they're cute. Pepsi's picture was horrible. It was like face on. He looked really weird because he has a blobby nose. It's an old fighting injury, they think, that healed that way. Doesn't cause him any problems. And Phoebe looked a bit odd in the picture they took of her. She looked quite scared. So anyway, they bonded them at the rescue. I don't know why. Again, they're not that great in RSPCA, but they bonded them, and we said, yeah, we'd love to adopt them. So they came and did the home check, and this time the home check, Wally was up there with this lady who has loads of dogs, so it always stinks of dogs. No offence to her, but like to bunnies, she'd smell of dogs. Look at that! And Wally was up there asking her to stroke him. It was so cool, and I was like so proud of him, because last time he'd like completely shied away from the lady's hand, and this time with Belle, she'd brought up so much confidence in him, and he went up to her, so that made me like really happy. And then we passed that home check, so we went to pick up Phoebe and Pepsi, and they came home, and yeah, it's kind of the long story which you probably didn't need to know all of, but that's how I've come to love bunnies. So Walnut and Cranberry were my first bunnies that got me into rabbits, and then as soon as Belle came along, she helped Walnut to come out of his shell, which helped me to realise how individual bunnies are, and how much you can love each of them because of their personality, and not just because of how cute they look. Because look how cute she looks. Look at that face. Bailey, you're so pretty. It's kind of blurry, but yeah. So I'm sure that Cranberry sent Belle and Pepsi and Phoebe to help Walnut and to make me love bunnies even more. So yes, and I really don't want to be without bunnies ever again. They're so amazing. They're just like so small, yet they're packed with personality and stuff. And lots of people don't understand that if you don't have a rabbit for yourself, because they think they're just little animals that don't do much. Quoted from a young girl who came to visit the bunnies. They don't do much, do they? But yes, yeah, so that's how I came to, this video is getting really long, that's how I came to love bunnies, and those are my first bunny stories. So these are my, well, Belle's my second bunny, and Pepsi and Phoebe my third set. But yeah, I hope that I'll always be able to have bunnies in my life. So yeah, thank you for watching, remember to subscribe, bye.